Welcome to the Axiom. New file detected. Launching file.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Leo, and today we are continuing the Disco Elysium file. Where we last left off, we had talked to we got behind this and we talked to Kuno S, and we also explored a lot around these docks. We found an apartment building. We also talked to a couple of old men who were playing a game, and we mistook them for playing shot put, apparently, and we threw their ball into the water. And now we're gonna try to talk to these people to see if we can get into this building. We're still trying to find the Wild Pines rep, but I don't know where they could be at this point. Let's really quick talk to this guy in the boat first. Your room in the Whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop. This is worth more than you'll ever earn in all your life. Can I talk to you?
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Oh, this could possibly be the Wild Pines rep. Let's find out.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting. She certainly seems professional enough to be the Wild Pines rep.
Joyce L. Messier.
Yep.
I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. Let's be courteous. Like, Evrart Claire didn't exactly... I don't know, let's go ahead and shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
Okay.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
Okay.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
I wonder if he actually believes that we're competent.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
Really?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
So far, she seems a lot more pleasant to converse with than Evrart, but if I know anything about, like, games of this nature and, like, corporate espionage, like, something tells me she definitely has something up her sleeve and will probably want to extort us as well. Psyche?
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
Okay. You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an what do you mean archipelago?
I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not?
Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Fair enough.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the Greater Ravachol Industrial Harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
Fair enough.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Yeah, I had a feeling she's like flaunting her wealth. Yes, I do actually, I think. Actually, why?
Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down.
It'll come off as like I'm envious, and I'm not.
You're not? Okay then. Just keep on admiring the boat then. Unburdened by envy.
Let's get off this boat thing. It's not relevant, although it is tacky, and she's clearly flaunting it.
Good.
She takes a sip of her thermal cup. Tell me about wild pines. Oh, hang on. You seem smart. Oh. Interesting, okay. Tell me about wild pines. What do you do?
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
Fair.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
Okay, so what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
So, oil and gas and shipping and freight.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Who are the other Indo-tribes?
Son-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Huh. You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
She does not register the real meaning of the remark. How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Wow.
20 billion is a large number.
The
but
heck?
The conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments.
A wave hits the sloop. She grasps the mainstay for balance. That's what that sound was, okay.
A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
I bet. Where does Wild Pines get all these billions?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain.
Okay.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
What does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Let's go with this. I'm curious to know how she reacts. You don't keep it moving, the workers do. The company is nothing without them.
We built this district.
She says calmly.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
Okay.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP.
She points behind you where the seawall rises.
Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
So she owned up to being part of Wild Pines despite just wanting to represent it.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
What is your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
In your massive boat that you are clearly flaunting. Got it.
And how are the talks going?
Probably not well.
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Measurehead?
Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead.
She leans back and rolls her eyes. How were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
That's fair. So... someone... maybe... So hang on. The people in front of the gates, the scab workers, and the scab worker leader, like we talked a couple episodes ago about how he might be a plant. They are the union is keeping the gates closed because the scab workers are there, and the scab leader, quote unquote, is keeping them there, making sure they stay at the gates and not just leave, thereby keeping the gates closed, making sure the union keeps the gates closed. The lynching has stopped all negotiations between the union and Wild Pines. Even if they weren't going well, they have now stopped completely due to this lynching. So I'm wondering if there is some kind of third party. But what reason would there be to keep the strike going? Like, what reason would there be to make sure that they never reach negotiations? Or they never reach, like, peace or a compromise? The main reason, I guess, would be that someone would want to keep the harbor closed. But why would someone want to keep the harbor closed? I don't think I have enough information to answer that question, because I haven't even seen the rest of the town yet. But it's a train of thought that I feel like I should come back to later. There's something in... someone wants to make sure the harbor stays shut down. But I'm not sure why. All right, let's proceed.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
Mm-hmm.
But the strike began in December.
Oh, so they didn't start negotiations until 2 months after it started?
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
It sounds like Mr. Gaumont might be something to look into.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Intellect?
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
What happened to this, Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Okay then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before. and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Psyche?
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
Yeah. What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Okay. So that's what they want. That's what they were talking about. I don't even remember where I heard that, but I did hear that at some point. Every worker a member of the board. Like, even... That really sounds ridiculous. Like, even if, in order to run a business, like, you have the workers, but I feel like you like, need to have higher ups to make sure things stay on track. Like, it's the same thing, like, with government, kind of. Like, the reason why we elect representatives is because we, like, every person in this country cannot run the country itself. There would be way too many conflicts. Like, people would all want different things. That's why we elect officials to represent us. And so with this, like, are they talking about just getting the same benefits as the board, or are they actually talking about every single worker deciding the fate of the company, and like actually expanding the board to include every single worker? Because that does sound a little bit ridiculous, and it's making me think that maybe this whole strike was fabricated for some reason. Because that they know that either they are so, like, confident that they can break Wild Pines that they think that they can get this much power. That, like, they have that much confidence in themselves. Or they made this demand knowing that it was something that Wild Pines would never give into, which suggests an ulterior motive for starting the strike. Which again leads me back to they wanted to keep the harbor closed. But then again, is that a third party? I don't know. We'll see.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Yeah, like, I think I'll say seems like they have no idea about business. Like, every worker, if it really is supposed to be taken literally, as in every worker a member of the board, and it's just like that, most of the workers probably don't even know what it means to be on the board. Like, it's one thing to just ask for, like, the same benefits that the board does, but it's another thing to actually be a member of the board. And with that many people, presumably, I don't know how many people work at the harbor, but I'm assuming it's a lot. With that many people on the board trying to voice their opinions, nothing will get done. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like they have no idea about business. Or they have an ulterior motive, but I'll go with this.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker a member of the board.
Okay. Yeah, like, demand democracy sounds a lot more reasonable. Like, you can pick who is on the board if they don't do that already. Like, that would make a lot more sense for the workers to be able to pick people to represent them to be on the board. Because that way they can elect someone they trust to be able to, sorry for the voice crack, but they can elect someone they trust to be able to get things done that benefit them in the long run. So I guess, like, What does that even mean?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Yeah.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
I don't really have any opinion on this. Hang on. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say, what are you going to do? I don't really know. It doesn't really seem funny. And I don't want to really give an opinion on this. So what are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
That's a good point.
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Motorix,
This
yeah.
checks out.
Okay. The scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the Union refuses to?
Yep.
If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
Intellect?
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Interesting, okay. What do you think of Evrart?
Evrart Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not.
No.
Evrart is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Motorix?
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
That's Evrart, all right.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
I remember hearing something about this Edgar.
Have you seen him?
No.
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Evrart does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
What about the union itself outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
She hesitates, looking for the right expression. A mob? A mafia?
A mob.
Yep.
The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Evrart and his brother.
She turns to you.
And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
An effective advocate for the rights of local working men? No. Not the way Evrart is leading it. A giant leech sucking the life out of Revachol? Maybe? That seems a bit extreme. basically a socialist mob. I mean, I think the mob part is correct. Like, Evrart literally tried to send me out on a hit. Well, not a hit, but like as an accomplice to a possible hit. Yeah, I'll say this, I guess, because this seems a bit too extreme because like they probably would be good if Evrart wasn't leading them and if Titus wasn't his right-hand man and if Edgar wasn't there. But it is what it is. So right now, I don't know, basically a socialist mob.
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers.
One more thing. You said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Huh.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Some kind of extortion, probably.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Yeah.
Thank you for your concern, man. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need here. Let's change the
Of
topic.
course. How else can I help?
What can you tell me about this lynching?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something. I wonder if we're gonna be able to find the old forewoman.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Oh, shoot.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you.
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
So it's making me tell her the truth about this. Interesting. I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
It did say when I first found out my badge was missing that it might take me a while to find my badge, right?
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Oh boy.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Oh god. Suggestion. How do I negotiate my way out of this? +1 sympathy for your amnesia. What kind of arrangement would it be?
I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort.
Intellect?
Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her.
Huh. Let's save this for later. Oh. A dirty alliance +1. I just got more. Let's save this for later. I don't want to roll that right now. Then I'll find it somehow. Let's talk about something else until I do.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear.
Continue.
The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us.
Do you know something about these? Actually, let's do this one first because and do that one second. You seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in.
This reality?
She pulls her hood closer around her neck.
Yes, reality is your side case.
Drama. All right. Intellect?
An experimental side case.
I'm conducting a personal investigation into the world I find myself in.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective.
Interesting. My theory is that this inquiry into the nature of reality will ultimately converge with our murder investigation. They are really one and the same.
Are they now?
The lieutenant cocks one eyebrow.
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead. Ask.
Intellect.
We're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Okay. Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
And what is Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock.
Continue.
You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Tell me more about Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
You mentioned a sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Are we near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water. The Insulindic.
Intellect.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the blue immensities.
Okay, Psyche.
Vast, lukewarm, and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
What's the name of this island?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her.
Huh. Okay, so she cares for this island? Maybe not this city, but this island?
And to humanity at large.
Okay. I don't need this. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revachol?
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
What kind of city is Revachol?
The great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory. Beyond patriotism. A fact.
What makes Revachol great?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
Okay, who built this city?
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed.
When was Revachol built?
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
And why will it resolve history?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest.
Weird, okay.
By that I mean, conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
Why here?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
Huh. So yeah, she's saying the land is important. But the world's connected tissue, so we're pretty much at the center of the world?
Oh, we're quite a way off. About...
She points across the water where the skyscrapers rise.
A sparkle of lights on the horizon, like morning stars above the curvature of the planet.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
The Bank of the World building. So yeah, that would be presumably where all the commerce and government take place? Look to the
Silence. She lowers her hand.
Psyche?
The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time.
I probably am. At least in my memory.
There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
Say nothing. Observe the large body of water swelling, cold.
She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence, slowly.
Thought gained, jamais vu, derealization. What is that? Temporary research bonus 9. None. Research time 3 hours 25 minutes. Provincial Special Administrative Region, Le Caillou, the Insulindian Ocean Coalition Government, Insulindian Mission Command. Name after name, and none of them is familiar. They seem real, but something is wrong. You feel like a kid looking at stickers on the fridge. Trouvant, the Apricot Company, World Games 34. You can almost see your hand reaching out for them. Scratch at the corners, see if they peel loose. This feels like the most important of all the thoughts, the one you truly must complete. Derealization? So I know, like, deja vu is something that, like, you feel like you've repeated the same thing again. I've never heard of jamais vu. Does it mean the opposite of that? Does it mean like... Oh, I guess it does. Feeling like you've never experienced something before? That's... Huh. This feels like the most important of all the thoughts. The one you truly must complete. I'll have to keep that in mind.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
Huh.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask about even more fundamental aspects of reality.
Uh-huh.
Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
But won't I be lazy if I don't do it all now?
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Why are you calling me a diligent boy?
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
Reach for something close to you. RCM can access ICP database. +1 RCM chem debrief done. Huh. Conceptualization. What is something? What is this? Spread your hands. What are you? What times are these? Let's do what times are these?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Too late for what?
for the big time.
Her eyes light up. There's a flash of teeth. What's the big time?
The revolution.
And what is this revolution I keep hearing about?
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Who got shot in the head?
Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Did the communists and the anarchists shoot back?
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Truly a kerfuffle.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
The lieutenant mumbles from behind his notes.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
Anyone else get shot in the head on the opposing side?
Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew.
Interesting, okay.
The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Interesting, so he just left? I mean, I don't really care all that much. I don't care enough to give an opinion. I don't care about kings. Tell me one more thing.
About head shooting,
Who got the mineral rights?
the liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Okay. And by liberals, you mean...
Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well.
How did the liberals win it all?
They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
Intellect?
She's one of them. Of course.
If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to?
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Huh. Wait, you just said the liberals already took everything.
The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people.
Who are the coalition?
The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay, the armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
Okay.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
Moralist?
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
So they just kind of like swooped in, ended the war, then took over, kind of? Huh. Interesting, okay.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Okay. Is that why my screen flashed blue earlier? Because I sided with the moralists with the coalition? on that opinion piece. The third option's funny. If always picking the option that doesn't if always picking the option that doesn't commit to anything, then hell yes I am, and also not. Um, I don't know. Again, I don't know if I really know enough about the whole situation to really form an opinion. I guess Kim is part of the coalition, isn't he? Like he is. He said earlier that he didn't know what to believe, but he used to really believe in it. I don't know. I think I might pick number 2, not just technically, practically. For a moment, there was hope, but like my own personal opinion is that I don't know enough about this to really have an opinion. But I don't know, not committing for some reason with this particular choice feels weird. With everything else it didn't really, but I don't know, not picking one feels weird. I don't know. Not just technically, practically. For a moment there was hope.
A devout man of the center. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean.
My screen didn't flash blue this time. When was this kerfuffle?
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Who started it?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Evrart, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
Where did it spread from there?
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
What came next?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Huh, Psyche?
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat. And you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
What is the zone of control?
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
Is this like a memory or like a feeling?
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune.
What happened in the rest of the world?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-Islary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
So they haven't moved on from the war?
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Wait, you're saying this has been like this for 43 years?
Time flies.
What have we been doing all this time?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell.
And after that?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
Were they? I doubt it. That's why we saw the postcards of failed businesses and tourist attractions.
No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
Oh, I got a new skill point. Huh. Intellect?
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
Huh. Let's save... That's enough about the
They are
tiles.
what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
That's all for now.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
Uh-huh.
Anything else?
Really quick. So someone in the comments had said I should put a point in endurance so that I'm not dying. They also said some checks might be tougher if I don't put a point in endurance, but this feels like the most important of all the thoughts. You know what? Other points will come, and I feel like I don't need to do it right now. I need to find my badge anyway, and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and unlock and do this thought. So, spend 1 skill point to unlock new slot. Yeah. And then we're gonna internalize. I don't know what that's gonna do, but we shall see. Do you know something about these tattoos?
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Fine, let's return to it later.
Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
Psyche check?
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Alright. By the way, I've talked to Evrart Claire.
You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare?
I wish to swear fealty to you in the cause of capital. I'll just be blunt. I didn't.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually,
She answers her own question.
corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic, Verm-like corruption, reaching into the bowels of the earth.
She looks at the ground and nods.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt Verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Oh, of course we would. Intellect.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
It would, I agree, but is it a good idea?
Yes, your disgusting necktie agrees completely. Let's gossip.
Oh, I helped him turn up the heat on the borscht? I'd rather talk about something else for now, if you don't mind.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat. Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
Thank you, that's all for now.
Of course, Detective. Take care.
End.
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
This is because I keep saying none of the above to political stuff, isn't it?
It's also about that, but It's also more. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
First, where is this Kingdom of Conscience?
It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times.
How do you bring about those circumstances?
Incrementally.
Continue.
History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment.
But what about all the things that are wrong now?
Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What
Intellect?
rationality? What
Motorics?
sang-froid? What
Psyche.
benevolence?
Wait, is the Kingdom of Conscience really about doing hang on. Really about doing things or just preserving the status quo?
Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed?
Yes, I suppose.
There you have it. Sometimes holding the line is progress.
Okay, but what's the Kingdom of Conscience actually like?
The kingdom is difficult to comprehend and even more difficult to describe. Partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The Kingdom of Conscience is post-capitalist, post-national.
Okay.
It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual.
What? So is this like taking is this trying to take a like truly neutral stance? Like trying to be so neutral that we don't want to change anything? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what to think about this. I am a little bit intrigued though. So at the very least, let's gain... I'm going to opt in. Let's gain the thought. We don't have enough thought slots to be able to do anything with it. And I can always just decide not to do anything with it. But let's unlock it at the very least. Sounds incredible. Alonzi. Let's go there right now.
Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow?
Oh, right. Then let's get there eventually.
That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
And so, hang on. What is this? Heartache is powerful, but democracy is subtle. Incrementally, you begin to notice a change in the weather. When it snows, the flakes are softer when they stick to your worry-worn forehead. When it rains, the rain is warmer. Democracy is coming to the administrative region. The ideas of DeLorean humanism are reinstating themselves. How can they not? These are the ideals of the Coalition and the Moralist International. Those guys are signal blue, and they're not only good, they're also powerful. What will it be like once their nuanced plans have been realized? -2 half-light, calm water. Huh. I don't really care about half-light because that's threatening people, and I don't want to threaten people. And like I said, I don't have enough to do anything about this anyway. Huh. Interesting. Okay. And then what about... Hold on. You just have to present her with your badge to hear it. Or perhaps if you did her a favor, she could waive off the formality. What is... Track down your badge. It's unclear how you should go about finding a tiny piece of plastic in a world as huge as this. Maybe you'll just stumble across it down the line? Miracles happen. Huh. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we are going to end the episode for today. I don't really know what to think. I mean, this is... well, this was great. Like, we spent the whole episode talking to this woman, to Joyce, and what she had to say was fascinating. Also, I unlocked 2 different thoughts over the course of this conversation. The neutral question mark political one, the moralist, and the derealization. I don't know what either of those are going to do for me in the long run, but I'm intrigued for sure. I'll also do my best to make sure to put points in endurance once I get more points. I don't know how I'm gonna find my badge. I might have to end up doing her that favor. But then again, is that any better than trying to do Evrart a favor? I mean, well, I guess there's a difference. She is a representative of the company. But at the same time, it's basically like weighing the options. Participating in corporate espionage versus participating in crime syndicate tactics. And I might end up having to do both. But anyway, we shall see. Next time, we are going to look a bit more around. We're going to try to get into this apartment. We're going to try to track down our badge, however that's going to happen. Maybe we'll end up doing this favor for Joyce. We shall see. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, even though we did a lot of talking, a lot of what she said was pretty fascinating. And we got the reality lowdown finally. So yeah, look forward to whatever it is I decide to do in the future. So thank you everybody so much for checking out the video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to be notified of when I upload the next part of the file to the archives, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, as well as leave a like or comment if you so desire. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.
Upload successful. Click here to view previous files. Have a pleasant day.